So everything is connected, and the system is vast. This interconnectivity is on display brilliantly, obviously, and sometimes ominously in water. The chemistry, ecology, and origin story of water demonstrate that everything is indeed connected and that the system is vast and that we are certainly a part of it. But can it be said, if everything is connected, that we are only a part of it? We will let water guide us in this meditation. Let us then follow this stream of thought as it courses through behavior, biology, consequences, and time, flows back to our beginning, flows back to the beginning, to where we may find the eternal spring of our identity. It is from there that we may begin to see ourselves in interconnection. See, we are ancient beyond comprehension because we are the incarnations of a process that began before the earth was formed. We are one of the perceptive apparati of the universe. We, it has been said, are the universe becoming conscious of itself. And all that we perceive and can perceive is and can only be ourselves, however unrecognizable and strange we may then seem. We are not descendants of the Big Bang. We are the embodiments of that event. The embodiments and the occurrences and the life. Everything is connected and the system is vast. From nothingness comes light. Elements are formed. Matter attracts matter and makes other matter. Molecules form. This is our story. It should be familiar. There's light, energy, then matter as gas, then dust, then rock, and then planets. There is particularity in events. For as one planet is stabilizing, it is struck by a large object, a comet or meteor, which blows off a sizable chunk. And that blown off chunk became a satellite to its former home, a moon. And the violence of that impact vaporized enough previously frozen material that an atmosphere formed around the larger, if not as large as it once was, body. And that atmosphere, combined with just the right distance from the sun, prevented the leaking of certain gases. And it formed a boundary. It made a difference. The atmosphere pressurized the planet. The chemicals and molecules now prevented from escaping were forced to deal with one another. A cosmic covenant. And their interactions were creative. They formed water. And the moon and water have been connected ever since. And it's funny, I knew that the gravitational pull of the moon on the Earth affects planetary, biological, and emotional tides, but I did not know that their origin stories, water and the moon, were one and the same. So there's something glorious and even a little tragic about it. There's something of sacrifice here. Something of sacrifice in the moon and in water. With only the latter. Still alive to know it. Of course, there's also something else. Water brought life to our planet. So there's life in water. In fact, there is only life because of water. And not only did water engender life upon the earth, it gave life to the earth. That is to say, the macrosystems of the planet and the microsystems within the life upon the planet resemble each other to such an extent that we may imagine, at least imagine, that our planet, the planet itself, is in some way alive, an organism. Everything is connected. The system is vast. Our planet is 70% water. And so are we. Our planet is a living body. Its waters carry nutrients and provide food for all the derivative systems, for all embodiments of the life force that are here. It could be said that rivers are arteries. They at last carry the planetary blood to the ocean, that pulsing heart-lung hybrid of our planet. And the ocean exhales vapor back into the system. And life goes on. Until it doesn't. Of the 70% of our planet that is water, only 3% is drinkable. And that number is quickly becoming an ideal rather than the status quo. Just as we are clogging our own arteries with the products of modern living, we are clogging the arteries of our living planet with the production of modern living. Rivers are being polluted or flat out disappearing. Water is being commodified and traded for profit, removing it from the jurisdiction of the commons. And commodified or publicly monitored, either way, water has been mismanaged to the point where this foundation of life, this element that we must consume in order to survive, is the primary medium in which disease is conveyed. It is estimated that 2 million people die of waterborne diseases every year. As a delivery device, water kills more people than war. Some estimate that more than 30,000 people a day die of waterborne disease. So you want to avoid the flu? Wash your hands, right? Well, 40% of the flus comes from tap water and are absorbed through your skin. So take refuge in bottled water. It is regulated less than tap water, which evidently isn't regulated all that well. And look, I could go on about the corruption of this most basic element, how the World Bank uses it as leverage to subjugate developing countries, how it is the third largest industry on the planet, how it is conveying pesticides from that scale into our bodies, how its use for power generation has displaced millions of people who have no recourse. The bottom line is that water is the fundamental, the primal condition of life, and it is being corrupted by the very beings that depend on it. So there's good news. And the good news is that the answers seem to be out there. The answers, the technical and political expertise seems to be there, and the money is definitely there. The United Nations estimates that it would take $30 billion each year to provide safe drinking water for our planet. Meanwhile, we spend $90 billion on bottled water alone. So the money is there. The answers are many and already available. And that's really not where I want us to go this morning anyway. This corruption of water is an important warning. But it simply points to that connection, that interconnectivity, that interdependence. To solve the corruption of water is merely a question of will, and that depends on two things: education and identity. So first you need to know that this stuff is going on, and I'll leave the rest of that up to you. And second, you need to know how it affects you, even if you do not think that you are a person immediately impacted by the corruption of water. Because as you know, though the system is vast, everything is connected, and this connection makes everything imminent. So, that points to this thing about identity. And that's where I would like us to flow this morning. Everything is connected, and the system is vast. We, our planet and our bodies, are 70% water. Our consciousness is not only the emergent property of our individual bodies, but our consciousness is the emergent property of all the macro-biological systems our microbiological systems arise from. Our minds and emotions are the emergent, unseen reality of the earth itself. We are walking water. We are water talking. We are water in love. But if we are water talking and water walking, if we are fundamentally embodied water, isn't it curious that we get thirsty? This is the theme of the month. Judy Armstrong raised this up at one of our meetings. She said, let's talk about thirst. So isn't it curious that 70% of us is water, and yet we get thirsty? So let's open up this curious question, for here is where metaphor and actuality can be the same thing and different at the same time. And here we may at last find some religion. So how does this sound? We are water, thirsty for water. We are water, thirsty for itself, for ourself. Our bodies, like all bodies which water passes through, stream beds, shorelines, and aquifers, we need that water to flow. We need our water to flow. We need replenished and so purified water, always to renew. And we're thinking metaphorically and literally now. So here is Heraclitus, the ancient Greek philosopher, who said that you can never put your foot in the same river twice. And he's looking at me now and he's saying, you can never put your foot in the same soul twice. For if we are water, we too must flow to renew. We are water thirsty for itself. And this perspective allows us to find wisdom in metaphor, as we can see that when we are psychologically thirsty, when we are emotionally thirsty, what we are thirsty for is ourselves. We are thirsty for our true self. We are thirsty for our good, our best self, for our replenished, refreshed, and healthy self. We are thirsty for that which we are when we are well. We are thirsty for that which we already are. Fresh water flowing if we would just open the dams of neurotic habit. We are thirsty for ourselves, for that which we already are, for that wellspring of inherent dignity that we have only to attend to and believe in order to invite. And this is true for yourself, your relationships, and for this church as well. You already have that which you need. This is our act of faith. It is in this act of faith that our spiritual, emotional, psychological thirst may be satisfied. You already have that which you need. So there's a warning here also. You mustn't mistake thirst with desire. Thirst is about necessity. And so thirst knows what enough is. It knows when it is satisfied. The purpose of thirst is to deliver us into health and warn us when we drift from it. Desire, on the other hand, comes from imagination, an imagined inadequacy. It is egotistical. Because of that, desire is unquenchable. It does not know when it has had enough. It behaves in an undifferentiated way, like a cancer. Some might say Wall Street. And so where thirst delivers us into health, desire delivers us into corruption, thus guaranteeing the inadequacy it's seeking to eliminate. Desire delivers the inadequacy it seeks to eliminate. Thirst guides us to satisfaction. And here we are, little products of an asteroid impact and atmosphere and light, little cousins of our cast-off moon who paid the cost of our being, the cost of water in cosmic sacrifice, and makes us a little crazy by tugging on the gifts she gave from beyond the grave. We are walking water, talking water, prisms of light whose genesis were one and the same and assured in the very instance of the Big Bang. We are, you are, all who you encounter are the self-reflective embodiment of the universe and the ever-occurring processing of its life and eventual decay. And it is this that you can see in the eyes of your neighbor and the stranger. This adventure, this flow, this ancient living water, these reflecting pools. And when you are thirsty, it can be said that you long for yourself. Perhaps it is also true that when you are thirsty, you long for the self you see in the other. For they are from the same source and bound to the same end. And if you are satisfied of thirst, if you are renewed and flowing free, or even more, if you are not, if you are stuck, are damned, if you will, then let the current pass from and through you. Keep that water fresh. Let that current, that life, that energy pass from you into the soul of your thirsty neighbor and thirsty stranger. Everything is connected, and you are a part of it, but not just a part, no. You are the water of the world. You are the waters of the world. Your fates are bound together because you are the same being. What will the water of life do with the water of life? You are the water of life. You are vast and connected to everything. So where are you thirsty? close with hymn number 34. Though I might speak with brightest fire, it's in the gray hymnal.